Welcome back, guys, to another online floating yoga. I should just leave it in as a blooper. I might just start again.
Let's just start again. I'll just edit it.
Welcome back, guys. We're going to do another yin yoga practice on the mat today at Floating Lotus Studio online. When you're ready, grab a mat and set up in a nice comfortable position in your home or in a nice quiet place where you can relax and you can be with yourself. Today I have taken a bolster and also a block. You might not feel that you need them, but welcome to grab them or any makeshift props that you've been utilizing over this home practice period. And we're going to begin in a seated position. So I'm actually elevated on a block here, and I've placed the block right on the edge of my sit bones so that my pelvis is gently rocking forward. And my knees are obviously descending nicely towards the floor. If your comfortable seat doesn't particularly look like this, that's okay. You're welcome to straddle a bolster if that feels a little more available through the knees. Or maybe you take a natural sukhasana with the legs crossed in just a natural formation. Make any little adjustments that you need, any fidgets, any sighs. Allow the fizz of extra energy to release from the skin so that you can arrive in complete stillness. Encourage a softening through all the muscles in your face, even spreading through the outer edges of your eyes. A softening through the back of the tongue. And unclenching through the jaw. We're going to begin today with a pranayama designed to bring us into the unique energy of both inhale and exhale. You can keep the eyes closed and participate in this very gentle moving meditation if you wish, or you're welcome to just visualize if you wish to stay completely still. When you're ready, begin to empty your lungs, reaching the bottom of your exhalation completely. Facing your palms up very slowly, inhale, and allow your hands to rise. As you reach the tip of your inhale, turn your palms to face down, fingertips face each other. And as you exhale, lower the hands down towards the earth. Centering down through your lap. Then as you inhale, face the palms up either side of your body and rise. As you exhale, palms face down, fingertips close to each other, and the hands begin to descend. Moving slower than you would like to. Inhale, arms begin to rise. Feeling a lightness, an elevation. Exhale, lower. Feeling groundedness, sinking. Inhale, lengthening through the spine. Noticing the lightness in the arms. Exhale, grounding through center. energizing through the sit bones as you remain strong through the spine. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Beginning to connect with those unique characteristics of prana and apana. Lifting and grounding. Notice any mental resistances, any thoughts that might still be floating. Allow yourself to acknowledge what is still there and allow it to rest to the side as you come back to that gentle moving meditation, almost inspired by that Tai Chi movement. Super slow, moving through thick atmosphere that is the air around you. Whenever you complete this final cycle of breath, allow your hands to place over the heart, one hand on top of the other. Take a few breaths, noticing how you lighten as you breathe in through the nose, expanding the belly and the lungs. Notice how you deepen and feel heavier as you descend to the bottom of that exhalation. Take one more breath. And then on your next inhale, gently flutter open the eyes. Arrive in the physical space around you. We're going to begin in a reclined butterfly. So you can take the prop out from underneath you if you were using one. And yogi's choice, welcome to lie flat on the floor if you feel that it is available to both your hips and your spine. Otherwise, welcome to slide a bolster behind you, extending away from the tailbone. Making sure that it's nice and close to the low back, if not touching the low back. And with the soles of the feet together, knees dropping open wide, descend down either to the floor or to the bolster. And welcome to support the knees here, especially if they're really elevated away from the floor. Welcome to slide a support underneath those outer thighs or the knees, whatever helps the inner hip crease completely let go. Whether you've chosen to recline over the bolster or flat upon the mat, allow your arms to open in any shape that feels nice. Finding something that feels completely restful. Completely absent of effort. Notice where your breath is occurring within your physical body. Is it traveling deeply? Or is it skimming along a shallower surface today? Remember that we're trying to be effortless. And if you feel that you are forcing elements of the breath, see if you can move a little closer towards a restful breath. There's an element of conscious involvement of the breath, but not a constrictive control over the breath. And see if you can come back to that prana and apana. And a gentle lift and rise of the inhale as your body feels light. The heaviness, the deepening, and the giving in as you exhale. Perhaps even creating an intention to exist fully in this cycle today. Your time here on the mat, you honor to spend in this continuous cycle of rise and fall. Take 3 more breaths. And then when you're ready, on your inhale, begin to wriggle into the fingers and into your toes, bringing life back into the shape. And then gently place your forearms down by your sides. And yogi's choice, welcome to press up away from the bolster, or you can draw the knees together and slowly roll to one side. We're going to make our way back to a seated position on the mat, so really ensure that you take your time. Welcome to travel with the eyes closed the entire way. Arriving in your comfortable seat for just a few breaths of rebound. Long through the spine and centered through the breath. ready, fluttering open the eyes and preparing to come into another reclining stretch. But be mindful if you are quite sensitive through the knees or perhaps through the ankles or thighs, you can elevate the sit bones on your bolster or on your block for this following pose. And so taking your left leg, bending into the left knee, and taking the top of the foot to the floor beside your left hip. And so it's important that the left knee stays on the ground here. And we're going to extend the right leg long. And so if this feels really uncomfortable for you and you struggle to keep the sit bones on the floor whilst wrapping that left leg back behind, simply elevate your sit bones up on a prop so that you have a little bit more space and that thigh can actually descend down on a diagonal towards the mat. And this will be your pose today. If you're elevated on a prop, please do not recline back. Simply stay here in an upright position, softening through the right leg. It's really important that you look after your spine here, so please do not lean back if you are sitting up on something. If you have your sit bones on the floor and you can keep that left knee on the floor, then you're welcome to slowly lean back. You might feel comfortable lying all the way on the floor, or you might like to just lie back on your bolster. Remember, use your first few breaths to make any little adjustments that you need so that you can find stillness. So that you can find an element of surrendering. Soften any tension that may have introduced itself to the corner of your eyes or the center of your eyebrows. And allow that right leg to become slack. If you're a yogi who possesses a lot of yang energy in the body, you might find that you're naturally drawing back through those right toes. See if you can just let the foot drape open as you relax the thigh. Alternatively, you can bend into that right knee and actually bring the foot to the floor. So that will deepen the pose for you a little bit through that left side, and it will create an evenness through the hips. Coming back to that cyclic breath. Can you be present enough to notice the undulations of your breath, of your body, and even the undulations of your mind? Remember that even though we are trying to move away from focusing on the thoughts, we don't fight the fact that they might be there. In the same way that we don't fight the fact that we have a sore ankle or we're limited through the shoulder joint or whatever physical limitations we're working with. We simply create patience and understanding around these sensations of the mind. We acknowledge that they are there, and then we move away in search of other experiences and other particular kind of areas of focus. Perhaps you're hearing a little bit of humming in that left leg now, especially in the left knee. Can you imagine softening the joint a little more? Allowing that juice, that internal energy to kind of marinate in deeper to the joint. We're going to take 5 more breaths. And then to release, if you were reclined, bring your hands down either side of your body, and palms facing down, elbows grounded, and then tuck the chin towards the chest, press down into the elbows, and then the hands as you slowly rise. You can extend that right leg back long, take weight to the right side so that you have room to extend that left leg out to the front of your mat. Ooh, hopefully getting a really noticeable trickle of energy down that left leg. Feel free to pour out through the feet, pointing and flexing. And then come back to that cross-legged rebound pose. Just a natural Sukhasana or whatever feels available. Again, whatever feels effortless. Taking note of what you feel. Perfect. And it's quite possible for that rebound to vibrate through that left leg for quite some time. And so that's okay if it's still tingling a little for you. We'll get ready to come into the other side. Extending the legs out long to the end of the mat. And again, elevating through the sit bones if you need that extra support. And then bending your right knee, taking the foot to the right hip, and the top of the foot is facing down, toes are pointing towards the back of the mat. And how close you keep the knees together is entirely up to you. It is safe to widen the knee a little bit if it feels okay in your body, but what we really want to avoid is that knee lifting off the ground. So whatever variation you take, just make sure it's something where you can keep the knee down on the earth. And again, if you're anything like me and you have a lot of yang energy in the body, remind yourself to soften that left leg. Even give it a little shake, a little wobble. Now, if you're elevated on a bolster or on a block, please just remain seated upright. And if you are really wanting to recline down, then slowly make your way back to either the bolster or to the earth. Remember, if that knee begins to lift, then you need to come back a little. And try to let go of your attachment to a deeper variation of the pose that the body might not be ready for. Your mind might feel like it's ready to go there and you might really, really want to get there. But ultimately, we are here to serve the body today, not your mind. Allow the ego to kind of just drift away. Welcome to open the arms if you are reclined back, or you can have them down by your sides. Whatever feels restful. It's not uncommon for your body to feel the effects of your practice for a prolonged period after your practice has come to an end. In the same way that you can feel the effects of a high intensity workout the next day or the day after in your muscles, and in your bones or your joints. Yin yoga is very similar, but more on a recovery foundation. The effects of your yin practice can actually occur up to 72 hours after your practice. Which is what makes this practice so powerful, so necessary. Especially in a lifestyle where we are programmed to constantly push and constantly strive for more, to constantly better ourselves and to be stronger. It's been scientifically proven that recovery plays a direct and important role in your ability to build strength. And I feel like this is relevant both physically and mentally. Notice if you're squinting into the eyes. Notice the patterns of your breath. If you would really like to bend into that left knee and bring the foot to the floor, you're more than welcome. Let's take 5 more breaths. Making sure that you're slowing the breath down. Sometimes I notice, especially in challenging poses, that impatience can trickle into the breath. Let's see if you can remain stable against that presence. And then when you're ready, placing your hands down either side of your body if you came all the way down to the earth or the bolster. Pressing down into the elbows, tuck the chin towards your chest, and then allow the hands to guide you all the way up, extending through your left leg, and then rolling weight to the left side so that you can gently extend that right leg long. Ooh. Give the legs a little pedal. We were there for quite a while, so give yourself a little mental pat on the back, especially if you found that challenging. But I promise your joints will really thank you for it later. They may feel a little tender for a while, but just be gentle with them as they rehydrate, as they absorb nutrients and come back to that natural equilibrium. When you're ready, find a natural cross-legged position. Welcome to support the knees with blocks if you're feeling a little tender. Just take a few deep breaths at center. What do you feel? Welcome to let out any sighs or any vibrations that are wanting to leave the body. Throughout my yoga practice, I like to envision these vibrations as kind of releases from the joints and muscles that no longer wish to be in my body. So I often let them out. Perfect. And then slowly opening your eyes. Our next position is going to be a wide-legged forward fold. And so I'm going to turn sideways on my mat just so I have the comfort of the mat beneath my heels. But if you're happy to stay facing forward or you have carpet beneath the heels, then welcome to stay as you are. Opening the legs as wide as you feel comfortable. If you really struggle to keep the legs long, welcome to place a little bit of support underneath each knee, which will help the legs stay bent, and it will help take pressure off the hamstrings being long. This is a really great option if you experience any kind of hamstring tendon pain or any sciatic pain. Shortening through the legs can be a really good option for you. Otherwise, you can also support underneath the sit bones by taking your block or a bolster underneath your sit bones and elevating yourself away from the floor. Whatever variation you're choosing, allow yourself to find center. Maybe take a little sway from side to side, feeling into the body. Soften into the legs and into the toes. And I'm actually going to take a block in front of me. But you're welcome to take a bolster if that feels more comfortable. And as you inhale, find a gentle lengthening through the spine as you lift out of the lower back. And then as you exhale, maybe just lean forward any amount. It doesn't matter how far you fold. Maybe even sitting upright is enough of a stretch through your inner thighs. I'm going to place my forearms on the block. For those yogis who really struggle to come down even that far, this is a really good option for you. You can take a big pillow or a bolster if you have one, and you can kind of stand it up in front of you, resting it on your chest and wrapping your arms around and giving it a big hug and resting your chin or your forehead on the bolster. I've even seen some of my yogis standing the bolster up completely and just allowing their head to rest. Remember that this is your practice and it should look only like a practice that suits your body. It doesn't matter if you look exactly like me. What matters is that you feel exactly like you. Gently massaging your edges here. If it feels comfortable to dangle the head forward, You can let the chin fall all the way towards the chest. And for any yogis that really struggle with this particular pose or forward bends in general, it's a really great option if you have a free wall in your home. You can actually take this pose with your legs up the wall instead. You can lie flat on your back, extend your legs up the wall with your sit bones as close to the wall as you can manage, and opening the legs out wide. It's actually one of my all-time favorite variations of this pose. There's no stress on the spine, and you utilize the power of gravity to kind of open deep into the legs and the inner thighs. I highly recommend that particular pose, especially right before bed. It's a great way to really wind down. Taking 5 more breaths. And then very gently, before you actually lift, just place your hands down on the earth and allow your hands to press completely downward so that you can slowly roll up. And taking any props off to the side. And just take your hands underneath your knees and lift the knees up and allow the heels to slowly attract together. And coming back to the center of your mat, especially if you turn sideways like me. Taking a seated rebound for a few breaths. If you feel really drawn to lie down here, then you can. But if you're happy kind of staying with that seated theme today, then just pause in your natural, comfortable seat for a few rebounding breaths. And then for our final pose today, we're going to take a folding sukhasana, or if you have it available in your hips, you can take a double pigeon. And so if you're in your natural comfortable seat, just making sure there's no props underneath your sit bones here. If you are folding forward, if you're happy to take a block underneath the sit bones and widen a little into your cross-legged pose, walking the heels forward. Just don't fold too far forward if you have a prop underneath the hips here. It'll just create a little bit of instability. So only move as far as you feel comfortable. If you have the sit bones grounding on the floor, then instead of having your heels really close to your sit bones like this, or really close to your groin, just press the heels away so that your right shin is parallel to the front of the mat, and then your left knee, which should be resting right on top of your right heel, that left shin is traveling out in front. And see if you can line the heels up with the knees on both sides. And so I've got quite a wide sukhasana here. This is obviously the first variation. Welcome to gently lengthen into the spine. And as you exhale, fold forward. And I promise that this variation feels the same as a double pigeon. A double pigeon is just more intense. And so if you'd like to come into your full double pigeon variation, it's simply stacking that left foot on top of the right knee, making sure you remain gently flexed into the foot, and both knees and both ankles remain perfectly stacked. If your left knee is elevated away from your right ankle, you can place a block underneath just like this. Remember that you can use any props out in front of you as you fold forward that provide support, that allow you to connect with a sense of giving in rather than forcing. Move gently against your edges. Allow your body to dictate where you go. Soften deep through the inner hip, the inner groin, and the inner thighs.
Allow whatever level of intensity that you're experiencing to wash over you. Are you fighting against it in any particular places, or are you allowing it to just move, to form, and to deepen? Notice an element of lightness as you breathe in, an element of heaviness, gravity as you breathe out. Allow yourself to give in. Can you notice the micro movements? Movements that feel significant to you and to your internal experience, but might not be completely visible to an external perspective. Taking 5 more breaths. Then when you're ready, using your inhale, slowly walk yourself back if you took your forward fold. Ooh. And if you took your full double pigeon, just use your hands to slide that top shin down to the mat. Then we're going to lean back on the hands and gently lift the knees and create a little windscreen wiper through the legs. So take your feet as wide as your mat, toes facing completely forward, and just drop the knees from side to side, noticing what you feel. I even really just like enjoying that massage through the glutes as the knees sway from side to side. 2 more breaths. It's okay if you get a few pops and cracks. Let the joints release. And then preparing for the other side, come back to your seat, but this time take your left shin inside and your right shin outside. So slowly working towards that wide Sukhasana, making sure that your left shin is parallel to the front of your mat. So the ankle lines up with the knee. And then see if you can bring your right knee directly on top of your left heel. Remember, you can slide your block in between the foot and the knee if they're really elevated away from each other. And slowly creeping the foot forward so that you're on the right side, on the left side, you've got that knee and heel alignment as well. And gentle flex through the feet. Welcome to stay here and fold forward. Remember, the sensation is the same. This is just a shallow version. Otherwise, if you're coming into your full double, slowly lift the heel, place it on top of the left knee. And again, if you need to place that block in underneath the knee, welcome to remain here. If you're folding forward, take any props in front of you that you need. We're only going to be here for, again, about 3 minutes or so. I promise the Shavasana after this will feel amazing. Allow your upper back to kind of soften, almost draping open from the spine. Your torso finds an element of heaviness, sinking a little deeper with each exhale. Reminding yourself to let go of the inner workings of the thighs and hips, allowing yourself to fully yield. Noticing any remnants of distractions sifting through the mind as we slowly wind down. Allow yourself to take one more deep breath. Exhaling everything out. And gently allow yourself to uncurl from your pose. Notice if you had one side that felt so much more prolonged than the other. I know I always do. And then gently use your hands, if you took your double pigeon, to slide that top leg forward. And then leaning back on your hands, widen your feet to the outer edges of your mat. And gently sway the knees from side to side. Welcome to take this as long as you like, until you feel the release occurring through the hips and the glutes. Again, maybe you get a few pops and crackles. And then in your own time, finding your Shavasana. And perhaps you take a bolster underneath the knees, or perhaps you just lie completely flat. Open your heels to the outer edges of your mat and allow the toes to fall open. Spread your arms as wide as you feel comfortable and let your fingertips curl back to the palms in a natural state of relaxation. Finding the natural expanse of your breath. A sense of bliss washes over your face. And perhaps you notice that trickling of sensation traveling from the hips all the way down towards your toes. With each exhale, melt a little deeper into where your body is in contact with the earth and allow yourself to become as heavy as you can be. I'm going to leave you here for as long as you need. And I ask you to remain as long as your body desires. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.